Okay guys, welcome. Free training video. This is for people who want to set themselves up with their first property. You want to buy more property. You want to benefit financially with your first property purchase. So if you know you want to buy your first home, you know you want to make money, but you don't know kind of where to start and you don't want to, make a big mistake that's going to cost you a lot of money, then this is the video for you. Set yourself up for success, a buyer's agent guide to your first home. So we're going to go financing costs first, because if you can't afford the property or you can't get finance, then you're in big strife. Don't fall for these typical traps where you should buy the individual, your first home, and the only 4 qualities your property needs to be successful. And then we'll go over some other stuff, how I can help you further as well. Okay. How do I work this? There we go. So get in with a 5% deposit as soon as possible. I hear a lot of people saying, I'm saving for a 20% deposit as a first home buyer. Why the hell would you do that? You know how long it's going to take you to save that extra 15%? So if you're buying a $600,000 home, 5% is only 30 grand. 20% is 120. So the reason that people want to wait to get 20% is if they're not first home buyers and they don't want to pay LMI and they don't want to pay a lot of stamp duty. But if you're a first home buyer and you want to buy a property that you're going to live in, you can be exempt from paying LMI and stamp duty, which can be big costs. So get in with 5% and take advantage, which is the next point, take advantage of first home buyer government grants if possible. Speak to a mortgage broker as soon as possible, even if you only have a few $1,000s. This is very important. They're going to tell you exactly the first home buyer government grants, and they're going to guide you along. So finding a broker, one you should use is just someone that is probably recommended by a family or friends. Everyone uses mortgage brokers. Someone's got great customer service. They all do the same thing generally. It's just about really the service. How are they going to pick up your call every time? Are they going to respond quickly to emails? And of course, their knowledge is very important, but yeah, all of them are quite good, are quite knowledgeable. It's just about the customer service. So yes, and don't hold back on purchasing from media influence. You always hear, now's not a good time to buy, blah, blah, blah. It's BS. It's always a good time to buy. The best time to buy was yesterday. Trust me on that. You're going to start paying off your mortgage. You're not going to be paying rent anymore, even if it is a downturn. At least you're in. At least you're in a property and you're not paying rent. The sooner you get in, the sooner you can start building equity, which is the whole goal, to buy again in the future. Okay, next point. So don't fall for these traps. If you watch this video and you fall for one of these traps, I'm going to find where you live and I'm going to come for you. Don't fall for these traps. Buying off the plan. Real estate agents are very good at upselling or selling these apartments and townhouses or other, but they know that they're not great investments. Don't do it. Don't buy off the plan. Brand new apartment, townhouse, anything like that. Please do not do it. Buy an established home that has a history of capital growth. If it's in an established suburb, it's going to be older. It's not going to be that nice, but that's going to be a much better investment, and you're going to be able to purchase again in the near future if you buy the right investment, okay? And also, even if you're a builder or a handyman, handywoman, don't get a major renovation job. It's not worth it. There can be a lot of extra costs that people don't see. If it needs a bathroom reno or a kitchen reno, of course. But if it needs major renovations and structural work, do not go near it. Okay. Remember, I'm going to come for you. I have your email address now. So don't fall for these traps. Just move me over here. Okay, where you should buy. So if you want to take advantage, and you need to take advantage of the first home buyer government grants, then you need to live in the property for at least a year, 6 months in some cases. So you need to live in the property. So maybe you live in perhaps somewhere you don't want to live that much for six months a year, but you're going to save $50, $60, $70, $80,000. Do it. Just do it. You're really going to benefit. Okay, so rent vesting, if you're in inner city, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, these more expensive places, rent vesting could be a really good option. Now, you're not going to benefit from the first home buyer government grants because you're not going to be living in the property, but rent vesting is probably a really good option because it's just too expensive. Buy somewhere else that's selling great properties for 500, 600K, 700K, and it's probably going to be a much better option for you. It's going to be more affordable. You can still rent where you want to live and then buy where it makes more logical sense in an investment standpoint and affordability. If you live in the country, by all means, buy there. Unless you live in a place that's got 2,000 people, if it's got a strong economy, I think you should definitely buy there. A strong economy, like it's got heaps of jobs. I always use my hometown as an example, Wagga Wagga. It's got a big hospital, heaps of jobs, a bustling kind of tradie economy, working class people. It's not going anywhere. There can be a lot of capital growth in these areas. Don't just if you live, I don't know, Gundagai, buy there. Why not? As long as it's got capital growth, it's got a strong economy, that's all we want. Don't stress yourself out that you can't buy in these cities because it's not going to really affect you that much. We can buy in the cities and the up and coming cities down the line. Just get in there and save on the first home buyer government grants, stamp duty and LMI, massive costs. You're going to save yourself so much money. So buy where you want to live, or buy where you do live currently, unless you're in inner city, Melbourne or Sydney. So buy in established suburbs with great community. I kind of addressed that. So good economy, good community, that's not going anywhere. If you live in a country town, then that's absolutely fine. So don't buy on a main road. It's not a massive one, but generally it does affect the capital growth long term. So if you can buy in a nice, quiet street, so it's called a good pocket in real estate terms. So a family street where kids can play on the street. It's close to shops, close to cafes, close to schools, but not too close because that can affect the capital growth. If you're living right on a school, it's across the road, you know how much foot traffic and noise and all that, it affects the capital growth. Trust me, it does. So a good pocket is essential as well. It can be, even if it's in, a lower socioeconomic area, as long as the pocket is nice, families around, some old people, doesn't matter. Okay, your property only needs 4 things to be successful. 4 things. Building integrity. We don't want it to fall over, because if it falls over in 5 years, that's going to be no good for us, obviously. Building integrity. It must have strong foundations and no structural issues. Now, capital growth, the most important, because this is what we want. We want good capital growth because we can hold the property for 5 years. We buy a property for 500,000. We hold property for 5 years. It's now worth 750, because generally they say over 10 years time the property value doubles in good areas. So it goes to 750. We can now pull out 80% of that equity, which will be like 150-ish K, and we can use that as a deposit on another property. So capital growth is the most important. I go over this in Pocket Buyer's Agent, how to calculate it, how to do all that. If you want to know further, download it and we can chat. And then rental yield, how does it perform in the rental market in comparison to the price? So you can just easily Google it, how to calculate it, rental yield. It's very simple. Around 5% is a good benchmark. I'll just tell you right now how to calculate it. If we have a property that is renting out for $500 per week and we buy it for $500,000, it would be 500 multiplied by 52, because there's 52 weeks in the year, divided by 500,000. Let's just do that quickly on my calculator. 500 by 52 divided by 500,000 times 100. Yeah, so 5.2%. So yeah, 5% is the benchmark in Victoria. I know it's a lot. It seems to be a lot lower. 4% seems to be acceptable. They used to be a lot higher, but yeah, there's a bit of a rental crisis right now. So if you're that way inclined, which it's up to you, you can definitely increase the rents right now. But yeah, people are struggling, so it's up to you. And then vacancy rate. So we want it to be leased out as much as possible. You can just Google vacancy rate of my suburb. What is it? Let's just say per annum vacancy rates, and it's a high rent. It'll be a low percentage if it's in a high rental demand area. So people want to live there. Properties are not sitting for lease for 3 months, because that's 3 months of rent down the line when you go to rent it out to buy another property. That's 3 months of rent that you could have had in your pocket. So it needs to be in a high rental demand area to have low vacancy rate and a high rental yield. Okay. These last two to do with rental income are less important, for sure. Capital growth is the most important. You'll sacrifice a lower rental income for good capital growth. Trust me. Okay. Yeah, capital growth should be your focus, but they all play their part. Capital growth is what will allow you to purchase again as soon as possible. So my first home buyer property scaling system will put you in great stead for sure. So I have a scaling system where we scale the building integrity, the capital growth, the rental yield and vacancy rates, all on importance. And then we give the property a score out of 100, the property you're looking at. So we can do this for as long as we want, and you can do it for future properties. It's going to really put you in good stead. This is what I use at my buyer's agency, and you can download it. It's a free week trial. If you want to just learn it and then leave, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, Pocket Buyer's Agent. So if you want to buy your first home in the next 18 months, this is where you need to be. I go over everything that I spoke about in depth. We have my property scaling system, the first home buyer property scaling system. I also give you CoreLogic, which is the #1 property investors platform, completely for free. It is $99 a week, so it's expensive. But the reason I put that price on it is because I could charge $2,000-3,000. But first home buyers, you're really struggling to save for that deposit. You need every cent counts. So if you can just come in for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's fine. If you want to stay in for 10, that's fine as well. And also you can try it for free for a week. So I just wanted to make it affordable for everyone, especially obviously first home buyers, because I know how hard it is to save for your first deposit. Okay, guys, if you're interested, download it. I'll speak to you in there. Free trial. Hopefully you learned some stuff today, and good luck on your property purchase. Thanks, guys.